Hi, YouTube. How are you doing? I'm having a wonderful day. Got a few things done around here. Got my exercises done. Feeling great. The happiest time of my life is coming up with, it's happening right now. Um, I've been talking about Dr. Almond Hillman. Yeah, almond. I like almonds. Um, this man has two masters in Greek and one in Latin. And then, of course, because he's a Bible scholar and beyond, well, he's a teacher. He's a doctor. Um, yeah, he knows a bit more about the Greek than these people who pretend that they can read Greek. Yeah, it's very true. And I'm going to share a video that he's doing right now in this video and then there's something mind blowing coming up. But this is about Isaiah that I'll be sharing. Pretty interesting. If you want to be a detective and get down to the bottom of what's written in those texts and how they were changed, we're taking them back because the Septuagint was written in Greek. Like I always said, it's ancient, it's pre Hebrew, actually pre Greek. But um, yeah, if you don't know the ancient language, you'll never be able to decipher stuff. But these so called scholars are out there pretending they know how to do that. Same with the pastors, the ministers. They're going to tell you their fairy tale stories of what the documents are. And it's good enough for most people because they're pacified with the dark force. And the dark force is um, chaotic within their lives because they don't know how to put that at bay. Like, go sit down a minute. We're doing work here. We're doing the real work. You want to try and help at all? Or do you want to stay in your fairy tale life? I shared two um, videos in my community that I think is important. I'll read you one that I shared and then show you the other. One is called the Order of the Rose, not the same as the Rosicrucians, but and then and that is super enlightening for people. And the other one I'll pull up in a little bit here and let you know. Um, in the Order of the Rose, you're going to learn what I've always known, that the book of John was written. It's a song that was written by a woman, and that's one of the reasons why I named my youngest son that. I named my children from the books that had the proof of what I'm talking about. I named my children so I wouldn't forget the passages where that information is for them. So they would find it through their names regardless. And another one I wrote shared is about the naked virgin, Medusa's gaze, talking about how God's daughter, wife, it's not incestuous, came out of his head. That's like I always say, the baker can make a loaf of bread. It doesn't make that baker that loaf of bread. It's entire. She came out naked with a shield and a spear, and she was like 6'3" and um, intimidating, and everybody's afraid of her, and you should be. So, just my opinion, of course, but what do you think about that? I think it's pretty cool. Now for the bomb. This is the bomb for the rabbi out there, the liars, the ex-CIA, and I'm not going to call names. I almost got there. Whew. Um, there's 5 books of Moses in the Torah, right? Um, no. Would you ever wonder about the books that were taken out and what they were? Yeah, we think, well, like the Book of Mary and, you know, uh, Enoch was left out, barely mentioned in there, and um, but guess what? There's 8 books of Moses. The seventh and the eighth haven't been found, but the eighth one was, and guess what? The eighth one has all the information from the sixth, seventh, and the eighth. Isn't that amazing? So these rabbi that know that, or they actually don't know that, and they're going to find that out, um, what they consider the mysteries that I think a lot of people practicing Judaism don't really even understand. Oh, like I told you, it's all satanic. You know, they are. They all stem from Satanism. Any way you paint it, all religions do. That's why I don't have one. How could I? You know, I just love God. That's all I know. And I love the people on this planet. So, and it's not like I'm not, don't pick a side. That I'm picking a side. If you're not a good person, you're my foe. And people that play in Satanism like there's some dark force, Mama gonna knock you out. You know, that type of thing. That's how I feel about it. You just don't play with people's feelings and religions, and you don't have to practice magic. That's what I'm trying to get at with people. And if you're sacrificing, I mean, okay, if I sacrifice this cigarette because there's a child in the room, that's a sacrifice, you know? If I do a ritual, what? Like, when I smoke a herb, to me, that's like a ritualistic thing. Yeah, people have their little idiosyncrasies or whatever, their vices, but I'm not all about getting down on people for those types of things. Whatever you do, whatever. That's not what it is. And I'm still not one of these where, well, God knows my heart. Yeah, he does. He knows the ones that are hiding the truth because of greed, and that's what's being exposed. And to straighten up the scriptures that were documented for people for their religious beliefs is what's going to be taken back. And the satanic community is helping do that. These aren't these bloodletting little freaks you see in Hollywood. They don't even talk about rituals and bullshit like that. It's taking that dark force, sitting on his throne, sitting on Satan's throne, and taking back that dark force and putting it in its place, telling it to go sit down and shut up while the good people on this planet help the other people excel instead of keeping you submissed under a dogmatic text that has been twisted to fool you. Do you want to be a fool for the rest of your life? How about if you start now, you can really get ahead a lot quicker than some of us older people that had to dig into that literature to find the truth, to be out here to be able to. I mean, to be able to have this stuff available to us. It's remarkable. But that eighth book of Moses coming up, whoo, and there won't be any disputing that. It's right out of their own. writings right out of it. That's going to blow them the hell right out of the water with their religion bullshit of being a chosen people. You know, was that British enough? I tried. I do have some English in me, but I don't, it's like, it doesn't fit me well. You know, my grandmother was a little more docile. It fit her better, you know. I have troubles with it. I mean, what else are you going to do on an island besides date your family? Yeah, or whatever, wherever they migrated to, right? To try and keep their holy bloodline pure. So the English take Hebrew texts that were fudged, and a King James runs with it, and then other scholars take that and run with that and make new revised versions of it, and it's all bullshit, leading you to the wrong creator. Absolutely. The actual Satan wrote the book you're following, and you people just love it. You know, it's true. You'll find out it's true. I don't want to hurt anybody's heart here. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing even at my own stunned reality when I was 15. It blew me away. So if you're feeling any of that, I'm sorry that you have to go through that too. It's painful. It really is. People don't just lose their religion for any reason. And I know a lot of people look down on God because of their sorrows, and they don't understand how a loving God would not intervene on something so terrible that happens to people. Um, it's really not something that God can control, not entirely. And it does have a lot to do with the person themselves and where they're at spiritually and with other people physically. So it's kind of like putting your coffee pot on, and God may not have the hands to stop it, and it overflows or whatever. Do you see what I mean? It's already put in play. It's set. It's like a roller coaster. Once it goes with electric and momentum, inertia. Once it gets going, and it's like throwing a ball. You can catch it in midair if you're there, but once that ball is rolling, if there's nothing to stop it, it's kind of like that. That's what I'm trying to say about people's attitudes, and where is everybody going to be with these scriptures? Are they still going to see that there's a loving God who loves them, and that book isn't as important as you would think because it was twisted, and we're trying to make a new one to bring to you with the truth, the languages prove it. They just do. You know, you don't go into somebody's country and take their religious beliefs and their texts and language that you can't decipher and make your own fairy tale crap that keeps people subdued and on a lower vibrational level, you know? And I'm the last one. I mean, like, okay, there's Satanists that would believe in orgies and sacrifices and rights. And even if I do have my own rights, I'm still the type of woman in life that my mind does not go there. I would be one if people were having an orgy, I'd have my clothes on. I'd have my back turned and I'd be asking somebody, hey, somebody got a ride for me out of this zoo, you know? And that naked virgin, unfortunately, doesn't have any clothes on, poor girl, you know, for exposed for the world. Her nakedness is exposed. How'd you like to be that person? What do you think about that? If you have any kind of morals or the word would be humility within yourself, I don't want to be seen naked in front of the whole world, but unfortunately I have been. How would you like that? That'd be enough to really piss a person off, and as in a matter of fact, it actually really has caused a lot wars. Here, here's the story. I don't know if you know about Medea, a queen that was taken. That's why Helen of Troy was taken after Medea was taken, because Medea had the power behind what the people considered the magic in the world at that time. And wars were fought over this, and there's things that still aren't rectified because of that kidnapping, and a lot of things that happened because of that kidnapping. So, anyway, and there's traditions of stealing the bride. There's a lot of deep, dark things, and like bachelor parties, getting the man inebriated or drugging him or drugging both them or whatever and totally fucking them up before they're united or when they are, that type of thing, on their wedding night, you know, so they can't really consummate their marriage unless they already did or whatever, but their union. But yeah, there's a lot of deep, dark that's going to be coming out. And I'm sure a lot of these rabbi and other people that think they're in positions of power, they really think they got it made. They think they're slick as shit. They're going to find out they're not as smart as what they think they are. And I've been telling these people, you just wait. I put it out in the ether, and the information I want, it's going to be there, and I'm going to expose these monsters and put a stop to it. Worldwide, this shit's going to end. The child trafficking, all the shit that's affiliated with their dark arts and their greed and what it's actually all about. In the world, I mean, some people might think it's ideal, but in the world, with these people with harems and several wives and oh, there was something else I was going to say in there, but the basic what I'm trying to say is if you are in the mindset of something that's perverse to what a family is, you're not really all there mentally, you know. It's like I heard somebody say they were thinking about becoming a Mormon. Like, I'm like, okay. Whew, yeah, we all know that Brigham Young. He liked his wives, didn't he? Yeah. And quite frankly, well, I guess if they're subservient or sisters or a little bit queer, they might like that type of thing. But yeah, there's some women are like, nah, this my bed, this my kitchen, and this my house, and you don't belong in it, type of thing, or this my throne, get the fuck up off it, or whatever. That's what God's saying, you know, because the wrath is coming towards these people. And see, that was what my point was. Actually, my main topic of this video is when I have a right and it needs to be said to somebody, expressing my anger, no matter how violent that may look to you. I'm not a violent person, but when people hurt other people physically, they need to be challenged and they need to be stopped. If it's so criminal and you actually cannot prove it, that's where the cosmic courts come in to help in that situation, and it will be stifled. And I really don't care about anybody's opinion about my warrior nature towards other people getting hurt. I do not care what you think when it comes to that. I really don't, because that's not your position. You are not strong enough to handle it. So, and if you were, you would feel like I did, and you would know, yes, most of it's talk, but it might not be. And you'd understand what revelation actually is. And those angels that actually work for God that could be considered demons or daemons or diamonds. Don't cross a diamond if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you're a young one. It's best just to kind of kick back a little bit sometimes and maybe learn and maybe not say too much unless you're in the position of holding your own. If you're not brave enough, just have a personification of Satan in your mind. If you're not brave enough to walk up to what you would consider Satan and tell him to go away from my kids or I'm going to take you out. If you're not tough enough to do that, you really are not a warrior for God. So, and that's a fact. You're just a dumpling, uh, your mommy's little cuddle bug or whatever, your wife's little boo-boo or, husbands, whatever. Yeah. I had a dog I called Bobo, and I spelt it boo-boo when I was little, but her name was Bobo, named after Bobo the clown. Yeah, I had Bobo the clown punching bags, and these things were made out of vinyl, and I'd smack it in its nose, and sometimes I'd hold it like this. It looked like a ghost, sorta, and it was like almost my size at the time, and I grab it, and sometimes I'd smack it right in its nose, and I'd pop it. Then I'd just be freaking devastated. I had like 2 or 3 of them things, and I finally stopped wasting my money on them. They were like about $1.50. You blow them up. If you just punched them lightly, they kind of wobble, like a Weeble wobble, if you remember them things. But yeah, it was a Bobo the clown punching bag. Those were pretty cool. I think all kids should have combat things. My brother and I grew up with all the combative sports, fencing, whips, all kinds of implements like that, and bows and arrows and whatever. We had them all of it. Uh, and then when my kids were little, I had some little red boxing gloves that I would put on and not lace up. But I would lace up their dad with the good gloves on, the big gloves, And then I'd pummel his ass because he was big and he thought he was a badass. And he found out, even with little gloves not laced, I would beat his ass. It's a fact. But anyway, so my kids would have an altercation and I'd just go grab the gloves and I'd go lace them up, you little brats. You want to beat each other up? Do it the right way, you know? Because they were vicious little monsters like their dad. So, so when I came across those gloves for kids, I had the big ones, and it's like, wow, this is perfect for these little shits. They didn't lace them up and strap them on and really battle each other. Not much until they got older, and then things they had been through together that they were led into by the dark cabal started eating away at them, and they took it out on each other, and now they're taking it out on the world and themselves. So I have some animosity towards people that teach children the wrong way. Oh, I wouldn't have gotten those gloves if my kids had been left alone, but they weren't. It wasn't like that. I wasn't allowed to have a peaceful family home with all the Masonic bullshit coming in at them, and so it just was not a good thing. They'll be okay someday, but it's going to be a long time, you know. So don't be scared of these Satanists. People are people. Um, I still feel I have qualities that I can teach a community of people that the world would say has turned their backs on God, but that's not what they're about. They pay homage to both the female and the male entity, um, not as one, but as a pair, as parents, and no other culture does that. Well, I can't say no other. I'll say very few, you know. But there's still some things for what the world has made. And Dr. Dan McCallum had really super interesting. In fact, let me see if I shared that. I'm gonna go into, or I am in my history. Just a minute here. Um, no, I didn't. Or wait, I gotta go in my history. I wasn't in there. Okay. And it is true, and people have heard this before, but there is a dark force and a light force. Don't get me wrong, I am not disputing that at all. Uh, Dr. Dan had most of our ideas about Satan are non biblical. That's on Dan McCellan, his channel. Real short clip, 5 minutes. He goes into that. He's been digging deeper into the Greek, I've noticed lately. And he is a member of the Seventh-day Adventists of Latter-day Saints. He's a Mormon, basically. Well, he's a Mormon, not even basically. And he's also a Harvard scholar, biblical scholar, that has one doctrine in Greek and one in Hebrew, from what I understand. And Dr. Alman has two in ancient Greek and one in Latin, which you have to, and then you'll find out that even the Latin texts were written before the Hebrew was. And that's where you get like the Catholic Church knowing more than a lot of people. And they're not saying nothing either. they've screwed things up. They depict God as hydrogenous and a hermaphrodite and all their bullshit. But I'm still telling you, that first girl, what they call the naked virgin, if she personally could take back all the nude images that have been depicted of her on this planet from the start, she would do that. That's the humility that that's the spot in humanity that other people don't have compassion for God in his very own, you know. That's a spot of disrespect, although it's in a manner of honoring. There's a lack of humility in it that is painful for the people concerned. Anyway, believe it or not. So, it's like I was on a live stream once and somebody showed like a cherubim and somebody says, why all them angels look like you? I said, yeah, good question, isn't it? You know, I wonder, like, I don't know. Like the Masons tried to make me lose my memory. I've never lost my memory. I was born knowing I was serving God the second I got on this plane of existence. I haven't lost myself, and I never will. But they try and play games with me, try and pretend, even my kids. What now? You want to pretend your mom? Want to sit in my seat? Well, you better be careful when I come home if you're in my chair. That type of thing, you know? That's something we don't play with. We don't take our parents' seat and say, this is mine, or we're sharing it. No, no, you're not. The spot of being the parent is the parent's, not the child's, you know? So, well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I appreciate you joining me. I hope you um, like my thoughts from the depth of my heart and my soul, because I love y'all. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace.